You know what I like to do? Change tires.
You're going to need a tire iron, a key for your locking lug nut in case you have one, and a floor jack or a scissor jack. Now today we're going to use the hydraulic floor jack because it's quicker and a lot safer in this situation. Okay, before you get started you want to make sure the vehicle is in park and the emergency brake is turned on. To make sure the vehicle is properly secured, we're going to put a block on the opposite side of the tire that we're changing. So before you jack up the vehicle, you want to find a solid point to jack it up on. So usually on the scissor jacks you'll use this pinch seam right here, but as you can see on this car it's pretty beat up. With the hydraulic floor jack we're actually going to use this nice thick frame rail, and then we can pump up the car from there. Next, you want to lift the vehicle up just enough to get the weight off, mostly off the tire. Next, you want to crack the lug nuts loose. Don't take them off all the way, and you also want to loosen them in a crisscross pattern. Now you can raise the vehicle high enough off the ground. After removing all the lug nuts, you can remove the tire. So before working around or getting anywhere underneath a temporary supported vehicle, you want to either use axle stand preferably, or if you're on the side of the road, you can use a spare tire to support the vehicle. So I'll show you right now before we get changing the tire. So take the spare tire. The tire just took off. And put that underneath the vehicle. Or since we're at the house, I prefer to use axle stands. I use things that are overrated. These are rated 3 tons, so this is more than enough. Just put that right underneath the vehicle. Now before you put on the spare tire, be aware which is the outside and the inside. So to verify that it's the outside, the valve stem where you fill it with air is going away from the vehicle. So before Laura puts on the tire, she's actually squared herself up with the tires in a sitting position, and she's actually resting a lot of the weight on her legs right now. This also allows her to watch the lug nuts as they line up with the holes, making it a lot easier to put the wheel on to the hub. Now you can thread on the lug nuts on by hand. Now make sure when you're putting them on they go on nice and smooth, because if they're not going smooth you might be cross-threading them, so make sure you be aware of that. So now we've gone ahead and put the lug nuts on by hand. We've also made sure that the wheel is on there and made it to the surface as evenly as possible. And when you've changed your tire and you're ready to lower the vehicle again, you can remove your axle stand. Just enough so there's just a little bit of weight on the tires. Now you can tighten up the lug nuts. Now usually if you have a flat tire you're not going to have access to a torque wrench, so go ahead and tighten them up nice and snug. And you want to do this in a crisscross pattern that Laura's doing. Once you have your lug nuts all secured, you can go ahead and lower the vehicle. Now before you hit the road, you want to make sure that you have the proper amount of tire pressure in that spare.